which is fine. I just have to go back and put in new codes on the pages now. Okay, so we are live and it's loading up over, and then I'll have to go and
Nice.
do. I had this all set up so it would automatically go ahead and go to both pages. And it looks like now I have noticed YouTube has changed its format a little bit. So maybe a YouTube problem. I don't know if you've noticed that, but YouTube looks different now.
No, I haven't been uploading to you. Talking about the uploading, publishing stuff.
No, the viewing. Check this out. This is what YouTube looks like when it loads now. Is both pages much wider screened.
It don't look like that for me when I was just on YouTube watching.
It doesn't look like that for you?
Mm-mm.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, last week I put it on my website the last time.
Well, and it's not working that way this time, Louis. So you need a you need a code. Go ahead and put that code on your page.
Oh, sure. Yeah, let me close this window.
That button is gone. That's why I was.
Oh, Louis uses his own page.
Oh,
yeah.
I want to be able to use. I want to be able to use my own page. For future stuff. So it's just playing around. All right, go ahead.
My page working. My friends making money page is working. It's easy.
Yeah, it should be fine now. I got them both over there.
Oh,
all right, guys. Sorry about that. Let me go back over here and.
Yeah, Robin, I think it's really cool that Jim sets this up like this so that we put it in replay on our own. Because, when you share it on Facebook and other places, because it's a URL redirect, it's not going to keep any code there or anything. But if you're doing it personally, it could be for your, help you for your traffic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and what I was initially thinking here, I kind of saw messed up. Gallery view. All right, here we go. What I was initially thinking about on that was then you could start to make them out on your pages and not use the same page even. So you could start a little bit of a weekly, and then if you wanted to go back and just share one from a couple weeks ago, you'd have it there just by duplicating some pages out if you really wanted to do that. Anyways, we are live. It's Thursday night. Tonight we're going to be talking about balance. Why is my green screen? Man, my green screen has been nothing but problems
It's
lately.
not balanced.
It's not balanced. That's the problem. I tightened it up, and now it's like, and it falls over on me all the time. Ugh. Kristi's like, I don't know what you've done to the green screen. I know I tightened it so it would look better. Okay, so we're going to be talking about balance, and what we want to talk about balance is balance in your life, balancing your job, your workplace, your business, your video games, your love life, your kids, all of that, right? And is that even possible? Is that even a reality that you can do? Because, you've heard that saying about someone that's a jack of all trades is a master of nothing, right? Is a master of no trades. So if you try to balance everything, can you really become a master at anything? So, tonight I kind of want to talk to my friends here, Louie and Robin, and discuss on what they think of this issue too, because I am certainly finding balance to be a challenge. I don't have a job. I work from home, and I still find balance to be a challenge. I did clean out the garage today and get the car in the garage. We've never had a car in the garage before. So that was pretty impressive that I did take some time away from my video game. I'm going to hold on, let me move my screen down here so that I can stop looking up so much. Exit full screen, and then I can look a little more straight on towards the camera. Balance, right? Balance says that I need to play my video game even while I'm on the live, So I gotta have enough monitors here to balance that too. Anyways, Louie's gonna slide up and down. So, you know, that's what I want to talk about tonight. My name's Jim Hall. I've been doing internet marketing. I've been doing video games side by side for 20, 25 years. And I'm finding that video games and business, they don't go well together, right?
They're two different things. Oh, they're
don't
different.
they don't go well together. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't play video games, but you got to strike a balance there, right? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight a little bit. We're going to talk about balanced life. And then we're also going to go into, Robin also wants to talk about some more email marketing from last week's messaging and try to help everybody in a couple of different topics. We always like to do a little bit of mindset and a little bit of how to actually do things here on our Thursday night live. So I'm going to stop talking. One of you can take it over for a few minutes and go.
I'm just kidding. But I heard that click. I don't know. I guess I'm getting excited about talking about balance, and I definitely won't be touching any video games anytime soon. When I was a kid, I would play. Obviously, I was a kid, so it probably didn't matter, but it was still probably unhealthy. 24 hours straight, we would just go and play video games and won't stop. Right. So that was when back there in my Sega Genesis days and all the other stuff. But anyway, I just told myself I'll never like really touch video games because I don't trust myself with having that balance. But it still doesn't help me, it still doesn't prevent me from having balancing issues. So I definitely am excited about it because currently I am trying to balance my life, right? So literally when Jim was going over the list of stuff to balance, I'm like, okay, this sounds like my life and it's starting to sound draining, right? So it was like business, job, family, health, I'm over here gaining weight, and so it's like, you have to find that balance and figure out what works for you. And so I think, okay, this is just my thing. A lot of times people don't find balances because they want to do so much, right? You want to be a hero to your kids. You want to, do the best thing at your job to get your promotion. You want to do all these great things, and it just can get, too much. And for people who actually want to do good in the world and in their life and other people's lives, just kind of like get overwhelmed or just do too much without really noticing how deep, you're getting. And so one of the things for me, I know that helped is just acknowledging that, okay, this may be way too much, and being okay with chopping stuff off of my plate, right? So sometimes we're doing all of this extra stuff and we really don't need to, right? We really, really don't need to. So literally, I think I made a decision in my business today that, okay, I'm going to focus on this area of my business. I'm going to throw some traffic at my business, because a lot of us do paid marketing, paid traffic. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to, contact the folks. I'm going to continue to post in my group that I created. And I'm just going to focus on studying one marketing strategy. And everything else, I'm just not going to do. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of Facebook syndication and all this other stuff that I've been doing, along the way. So really, really have to to me, I really have to just come to the conclusion that I can't do everything at one time. And then maybe you focus on, I heard people do this before, I can't work myself up to do it. But maybe you can focus on one area of your life. I don't know if y'all ever heard of people, they'll take 3 months out the year and focus on, fitness. And they kind of ignore everything else. And then another 3 months, they're focusing on family. And I think I would just go crazy if I tried to do something like that, because I'm always thinking about other things. But I think it's important for you to just find what works for you. Literally put a list down of what's important in every area, whether it's business, home, finances, whatever it is, and find the most important things that you need to do and chop everything else off, because Eventually things will catch up with you. She's trying to get to her food. Eventually things will, catch up with you, and you'll find that, maybe you've been concentrating on business and family, and now your health is going down the drain, right? So that's just my take on it. And no, I don't think there's ever really like a complete balance to anybody. I think it's always changing. Everything's changing. If I look at my to-do list for business, a year ago, and I look at it today, that's changed. So it's always like you have to balance the things and level them out as you go. So that's all I really have for right now.
Sounds good. Sounds good, Robin.
I'm just looking at her back there.
And you brought up some really good points, because like fitness, for one thing, I remember when I was in Iraq and I lost 105 pounds, and I was down to, I went from 313 pounds down to 208 pounds in a 7-month period. I worked out hard. I was working 12-hour days too, so I didn't have time to really sit around or anything like that. And I didn't, I was in Iraq, so I didn't have a yard to cut. I didn't have a wife to maintain. I didn't have trash to take out. I didn't have much else other than work and go to the gym, But what I was getting at here is, because I got in such good shape, it just seemed like everything in my life was so much easier. I remember like working on the helicopter, and I'd be exhausted, but I'm up under there and I'm just like jamming out, because my abs are working and my back's not sore. So I've been really thinking about, should fitness kind of take that first slot? And really, if you really got in good shape, would a lot of other things balance a little better? So I just wanted to add that, because that bubbled into my mind, and then I'm going to go ahead and let Louis put in his 2 cents on this topic.
Balance, my word. Well, both of you, I think Robin said it, right? There's really, what the true balance, right? I mean, unless you're ultra organized and don't allow anything else, you know exactly where you're going, to be balanced on how much time you're going to put towards each of those, and then be consistent with that, right? We talk about a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and I think everything we do should be based off of that, right? I mean, whether it be losing weight, whether it be building our business, we need to look at our plan. And part of that plan, Jim Rohn, write it down. What are you going to do today? We outline your 5 biggest goals or whatever it is, and say, I'm going to spend 15 minutes doing this. I got hurt doing 30-second planks because I'm out of shape, right? And now I'm back at it. My back is better and all that stuff. But anyway, the whole, we have 6 kids. I've got a lot of you guys hear it all the time and are chatting back and forth. I'm running from one thing to another. And then at the end of the day, something had to give, right? And it's, you did what you thought was the most important in the end of the day. So that's, if you're not balanced, if you don't write it down, if you don't write your plan down, and it's going to be hard to maintain a balance. That's it. We all want to, being lethargic, the pandemic has set everybody back. For up here in the north, we have winter. The company I work for is focusing on mental health right now, because everybody has had, been affected, and that in itself throws you off balance. You don't think it does. Maybe, hopefully, you have people around you that can identify when you're getting snappy, or, hey, why, you're not remembering things like you were, because, you're so either stressed or maybe in a borderline depressed. But if you can't maintain those emotional balances, it's going to affect everything else down the road. And I think the biggest thing that helps you snap out of that is by keeping I've got 3 notebooks here on different items, keeping a list of what it is you want to do. And there's one book here, I don't think I've opened it up for a week. I don't want to admit to that, but so when I go back in there and start looking at that journal, it's 5 days ago. I didn't intend on that happening. It's just that's what happens. But at least write it down, get back into it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Everybody does it. And it had become, how many days does it take to become a habit? 21 times or 21 days. Start with something small, whether it be working out, whether it be some content for your business, reading, starting to read books that you maybe haven't read for a long time. And there's a timer, I think it called a tomato timer. It looks like a tomato. It was a leadership thing. And you have a task to do. And you would set everything by a timer. It's like, how long do you think it's going to take you to do that task, to write that email, to do that content? And you would turn the timer, and for 10 minutes, you literally shut off everything else, and you do it. See how far you can get in that 10 minutes. You may find you might need a little bit more, but so try to break down what you want to do during the day to stay balanced, and then put time limits there, and block out everything else during those times as much as you can. If you got kids running around you, and other obligations, but you kind of get the picture. That's what you need to do to try to regain balance, I guess. We all struggle with that. Struggle is real.
And is there a place that you would agree you can say, I don't really want to do that? Is there something that you can just put off? That's something I'm asking. What do you guys think? Is there something, what could you put off that wouldn't disrupt your life? Like, for instance, I just gave away my lawnmower because you know what? Having the lawnmower kept me mowing the grass instead of getting somebody out here to mow the grass. It also kept my $3,000 lawnmower in the garage instead of my $40,000 car. That makes good sense, right? So I gave my lawnmower away. Now I burned that bridge, right? Now I have to get it cut. So I can take that off of my plate. It's not that expensive. It makes me sick to cut the grass too, because I get hay fever real bad, but I'd still do it because I had a $3,000 lawnmower, $2,000, whatever, an expensive lawnmower in my garage that I could just ride on like a tank, zero turn. It was fun. And, what's the big deal? I can cut the grass pretty quick, but then I'm exhausted from the hay fever and I don't feel like doing anything else.
How much land do you have?
0.21 acres.
not return for 0.21 acres.
Well, when we bought the zero turn, we lived in Texas and we had 0.33 acres. And I was in Iraq, so I bought a zero turn instead of paying the guy $200 a month to mow the grass. It was really expensive out in Texas to get our grass cut. So I was like, you know what, we could just buy a lawnmower and Becca could cut the grass. She was like 10 years old. She had a blast with it, so turns out she's very allergic to grass also. So she stopped cutting the grass too. But the doctors actually said we should get our yard removed. And I was like, we can't just pull up the grass. That
just lift it up. Just put it to the side.
But there's things like that, right? And I think about this with you a lot, Louis. Like, you spend a lot of time fixing stuff because you have the skill for it. But would it be better to pay some of that stuff away? Because what's more valuable? And I don't know. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't.
I'm going to say it to you. I 100% agree. Our daughter is driving to Florida. The other one just brought me the phone because I think she's made it all the way down to Tennessee. So I've taught them all how to change their oil. We didn't have money, right? So, you know, to do some basic stuff on your car that people are going out and spending 40, 50, $100 every couple of months to do, we can do in literally 30 minutes. You know, pull the plug, take the filter off, put the plug back in, put a new filter on, put oil in. You're done, right? But most people don't. Taught them how to change tires. You know, yeah, I had to take time to go do that. But you know what? So I took a car for a drive to warm up the oil so it'd flow out easier. And the thing's pulling to the left. She wouldn't have told me that. All right. She knew it was doing it. So I say, hey, this thing's got to go to a garage. I can't do an alignment. So sit to the garage. And they say, hey, we aligned your tires, but you got a bulge in your tire. All right. You're going to need a new tire. And so then she ended up having to spend all the money that she just barely got for new tires. But all that started with, I had to take my time that you guys know all the stuff that I'm involved with and do it, you know, and go do that. But for her, but now that apartment building, yeah, we didn't have to paint it. But here's where the part that I was going to get to is I have a spouse. Now we've raised 6 kids and on some meager income, and she knows how to stretch a dollar further than anybody. You know, you could bounce that dollar off of a bed. She knows how to stretch, but it's hard to go from that mindset of doing it all yourself to saying, I'm going to pay somebody to do it. And I'm to the point now of saying, my time is more valuable than going and doing that. Fixing that bathroom up and stuff, that would have cost a lot more, you know, for trades to do it. But painting, I didn't need to paint that place, you know. But when you have another person and they're like, no, we're not going to spend the money to have somebody else do that. We're going to do it. If it means getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and going and doing it, that's what we're going to do. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of things you see me doing that are messing up my feng shui to balance, but it's also because of the influence from my other half. And we're still in that mindset that, you know, we got to do it ourselves, and we don't.
Well, and you do have 6 kids, and you still have a couple at the house that could probably learn some of those skills as well. So, so that is one of those things of, you know, and we were talking about that the other day too. Why is it that we all kick our kids out, right, and make them go start their own household? And now we all have 2 sets of expenses. You know, you got 6 kids, they're going to spread all out, and then you're going to have 7 sets of expenses across your family. How weird is that? Now, I don't know that there's a solution to it, you know, I mean, but it's just
Right.
it's just a weird thing to me that we've been thinking a lot about. And I don't know for sure if that comes into balance necessarily or not, but just life is weird in some ways. That, like, what could you do to make it better? And you know, I've lived with my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, and that did not make things better. So I don't know that that's the solution, right?
It's not because some of the conversations I had with my family, no, it's not the solution.
And
And
they
I don't know
live,
why that is, right? Why is that, right? I don't know what the expectations are. We have a son that he's renting up the road because he can't rent from us. I mean, I did that. And, you know, he had a good rent. But our expectation is that you're going to take care of the place, right? And so his expectation is, get out of my business. I'm renting from you. I can do whatever I want. And so, you know, I don't know, because I always said, you know, there's going to be a day where it is already too expensive for young people, by the time they go to college, if they're carrying that debt, I know a lot of parents are paying for it and all that, but they're carrying all that debt. Then they got to get a car or transportation to and from work, unless you live in a city. And then they got to get a rent somewhere. And because they can't afford it all, they're going to get a roommate that they really shouldn't have. And, you know, we're putting them right back into, you know, they're starting off so far behind. And it's like, if you just live like this, if you just do this, now here I am, a little older than I think both of you are. And I was like, I've got a huge house and I'm okay if I had a single wide double house, you know, a single wide home, or, you know, my wife works in a care facility, and I don't want to say, but in the end, what's the most important thing? And that's the time we have to spend. So we let ourselves get out of balance on all these things, and before you know it, you're as old as Louis is, and you're looking back. And I don't like this looking back like regrets. I don't look at it that way. I just don't. But that's why I like Carl Barth's quote of, you know, today is actually your first day. You know, start from now. So hopefully our conversation on balance at least makes people think about what it is that they're doing, and are they spending too much time on one thing, and how can they help? How can they balance it out? So
When you said
good discussion.
Yeah, when you said, so something kind of pointed out to me or stuck out to me. I think that is a big thing to look at when you said if somebody's spending too much time on something, and not necessarily too much time on something productive, but I was having a conversation with another leader in an affiliate marketing company I'm with, and it's like we all signed up for, you know, this project, and people just started dropping out. And, you know, I'm kind of like, hey, if you don't have time, you don't have time. But really, I know that a lot of times people spend time on stuff that they don't need to spend their time on. Like literally, I think when you do look at your life in general, you definitely, like when it comes to reaching your goals and things like that, you definitely need to look and see what is actually wasting your time. Like you know, if you've been scrolling on Facebook way too long, like literally I have to like, and I'm still working on it, break myself out of Facebook. Sometimes people don't believe me when I be like, I don't be on Facebook that much. They be like, yes, you do. Now I'll probably post to keep consistent with my posts, but then I have to come back, you know, once or twice throughout the day. But sometimes I literally just have to break away from my phone. Like it's way too much. It's the same for, you know, Netflix for some people. Some people just sit and watch Netflix all day. Sometimes I binge, right? I haven't binged in a while, knock on wood. But I mean, just take your time. And I mean, Netflix hopefully will be there for a while. Watch an episode here and there, but don't binge on something that's not going to improve your life. It's not going to you know, help you make money or improve the quality of your relationships and things like that. Definitely don't do it to where you kind of regret it later on. Like, oh, I did too much of this and now I don't have the lifestyle I want or the relationships I want or things like that. But I do think ultimately people in general waste so much time. And I'm talking to myself too. And that's probably the number one thing you can look at, you know, today. Like maybe, you know, you spend 2 hours on Facebook before you leave the bed on Saturday mornings. Okay. Try 1 hour and then, you know, and then cut it back again soon, you know, after that. But just cut back on those things that's, you know, not doing anything for you. So I just want to get that out. Like, the stuff that really doesn't matter.
Well, you really need to write down. It's like if you're on a diet, right? They tell you to write down at least for a week everything you eat, you know, and then because you don't think, and I say that in finances, right? If you want to know where your money's going, write down on a notepad everywhere you're spending money, and it's the same thing in the balance of your day. Write down, you know, keep a little notepad and write down. Be honest with yourself. How much time you spent on what. And when you've got a shortfall on something that you say you really want to do, look at that list, because that list is going to tell you where the issue is. It's going to make it very clear. I have a terrible habit of watching them, jump into a couple different news channels and then looking at my trading screens way too long. It's not needed, but it's an addiction. Before I know it, a lot of time has gone by.
Like, what happened? It don't even feel real sometimes.
Exactly. And so if I want to be real honest, that is what's happening. But so yeah, I mean, but it all comes down to pen and paper, small notepad, a way to keep track of. Just spent an hour watching Facebook, going through Facebook or social media, whatever it is. Just spent an hour, because trust me, it's never 5 minutes. It just never is.
Unless you like addicted and you glance for 2 seconds. Oh, I just looked at that. That's the only time.
And you know what? When like tonight when I'm cooking dinner, I actually have to put a 5-minute timer on basically every time I walk away from the stove, because otherwise I know I'll be in here and it'll be a half an hour and my stuff will be, stuck to the bottom.
Oh, I burnt all of our pots and pans. We have we're down to 2 or 3. And every time I'm the last one I burned, I'm kind of like, there's no way I'm going to forget. I'll be right back, and sure enough, it burnt. I had boiled one of them. I boiled my water pick to disinfect it. It was a burnt, melted water pick right at the bottom of the pot. I was like, well, so I owe an expensive, luckily though, that set wasn't really expensive, but I do owe a nice pot set to the house because we're down to a couple. I don't even know how many I burnt, maybe 4, 5.
That's pretty crazy, Rob.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Crazy. And then, on the other side of that, can you take something you're out of balance on and be productive in it? Could you take reading or could you take Netflix and actually make it a productive skill? And that's kind of what I'm looking at with video games. It's something that I really enjoy. I always have. I did look back at a game one time that used to have like a clock in it that would tell you how many hours you played. And it was a really astronomical amount of hours. And I actually got really sick about it at the time because I was like, that is a lot of time. And at the time, I had no way to be productive about it. I had no way to, can I become a famous, and then I don't mean a famous YouTuber, but if anything, you can make money on YouTube with just about anything. So it is something that could be productive. Could you take the skills that we learn here? The whole point of this coming together is to talk about business, and how do you take some of these tools that we have and apply them into parts of your life. So I'm always looking for ways that I can apply the skills that I've learned through the years, 20 something plus years now of learning online marketing, of just learning marketing in general. And I have found that, I didn't think about it, but I started a YouTube channel and then I was like, wait a minute, but I could start this Facebook group too, based around this video game, and do a little keyword research and put together this group, and then I can connect the two together. And so I was like, that's kind of cool. I can actually be a little productive with something I'm having fun with. Should I still limit it? Yeah, I think somewhere I need to find the limitation, and actually set a schedule of work hours or something. So, just something else to throw out there about balance, and turn your out of balance-ness into productivity. Like we talked about exercise. Maybe if you're like really addicted to exercising, you could turn that into a business, or you could turn that into working at a gym, or when I lost all that weight, I really thought I would become a physical trainer, and help people out, like maybe physical therapy or something like that. Now at 400 pounds, it's hard to say, hey, this is how you're going to lose weight. Right. But but back then I was pretty ripped, and I really had this, I almost had this addiction to working out, because I got so fit with it. And I would say that, you know, I did talk about how my life at that point was a little weird, but my fitness was probably out of balance at that point. But if I could have turned it into a website or a YouTube channel or, you know, some kind of way to produce money with it, which, and we've talked about this a lot of times too, you can take almost anything and turn it into money, you know, so if you have a passion for something. So I wanted to throw that out there. You know, we like to come on here and talk a lot about mindset. I'm going to stop for just a minute and look at a few things. Somebody else can take over.
It's your cue, Robin.
It's my cue. When did you want to get into? We're going to get into email marketing a little bit, or what? I don't really have much to say about it. And I was trying to, when you started the intro, I was kind of trying to think of ways that we could talk about balancing and email to kind of make it tie in together, but I haven't really came up with anything creative. But I guess what got us into that was I'm gonna try to make it tie in together. But I guess what got us into even wanting to talk about email marketing is that last week we actually talked about the 2 tools you needed in your business to be profitable and things like that. And so we kind of went in depth with the funnel builder, which I love. Every time I talk about it, it's just like so exciting. But on the back end of that, what people really didn't see was, I'm about to tie it in. What they don't really see is the email marketing on the back end. And you can kind of relate this to your life and to like outsourcing, like Jim was talking about, like paying somebody else to do it. You also have technology that'll actually help you balance your life. And so that's one of the tools that we use is the email autoresponder. Like literally once you if you set it up, everything up, obviously in the beginning, once you put your, somebody put their email into your autoresponder, things like that, you literally have like somebody in the back, an exec, secretary, a little machine, whatever you want to call it, just literally working for you and sending out those messages. And as long as you set that up correctly, you have people automatically receive inspiration, motivation, your offers, and all of that stuff for you. And so, you know, I kind of wanted to bring that up because we were talking about those 2 tools, but it's kind of tying into balance. And sometimes a lot of people say, oh, I don't have time and all this other stuff, but literally you can set up sequences that's actually going to work for you. And I mean, I actually love email marketing because of that. I don't have to worry about missing somebody or missing a client or a prospect or anything like that when they sign up into our email autoresponder. And I know it's the same for me, Jim, and Louis, that when, you know, we literally made money in our sleep before, probably doing other things, probably talking with other people, probably, you know, spending time with family. And it's because we have this system, this automation software that's able to pretty much do a quick follow-up with people in email not people within email marketing, but people that has entered their information into your system. So I guess since we're talking about balancing, I would go out there and say that if you are having a hard time balancing your business, your life, or whatever, look at ways that you can automate things, outsource things. We do teach that you want to write your own emails and kind of do fresh emails, things like that. That helps. But one of the things that I practice is I'll go and try to find a email that's worked great for me in the past and throw it into the autoresponder system. Another thing you can do is definitely outsource. I'm kind of going off of email, but it's just how it is. But like when Jim said he's going to get somebody to cut the grass, like I literally hired somebody to do certain things for me on the Facebook or whatever, my Facebook group. Also, I just asked him to kind of just seek certain profiles for me. So there's other Facebook groups that I would go in the past and connect with people. And I say, you know what, I think I can get away with having him seek out these certain profiles for me, because this group is like 280 something thousand people. He'll never run out of people. Go to this group And this is what step one, you want to look at the profile picture. Step two, you want to look and see what they're doing actively on their Facebook and things like that. And that could take some time. I don't know if y'all ever did relationship marketing to where you're just reaching out to connect to people. It could take a lot of time. And literally, I don't know what the list is, but I probably got a list of 50 potential prospects I could reach out to, and I didn't even have to do the work up front. Like literally I could just click on it and just start the connection process myself. But basically, like, just think of ways. There's all different types of ways to balance, outsource, use technology, things like that. I don't want to take over the call, but I could get excited about productivity things. I do have one thing I wanted to share. It's Tascade, I think. So a while ago, I had came across an app called Wunderlist, okay? And this Wunderlist app allowed me to just write a list of stuff that I needed to do to hopefully, get balance and make sure I did everything I was supposed to do. But recently they did something to where it doesn't sync. So I can't get it on both, like my device and my phone. I have to do one or the other. And so I found an app called Tascade. I'm about to call it the dishwashing liquid Cascade. Tascade. I don't know if y'all can see that. Probably can't see that. It's like a little lamb or something right there at the bottom. And it literally, you can organize projects, organize your daily tasks and things like that. And it's absolutely amazing. I don't know if I should share my screen so you can see it, but it was absolutely amazing and just helping me feel more organized in my mind, and help balance those things out so I could say, like literally, this is what I need to do.
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen if you have it on your computer too.
Yep. Yeah. And that's another thing I was looking for. I was like, it has to be on both. It has to be on my computer and my phone. So one cool thing is, I get distracted a lot. So one cool thing is, as soon as you start a tab, that bad boy opens up. It doesn't even allow you to get distracted or anything like that. It opens up for you like, hey, whatever you got to do for the day, or not whatever you got to do for the day, but the last page you left off of. So if I go back to, I am at Daily. So you have different projects and everything like that. So I'll take y'all to like an affiliate marketing project. And so some of you may or may know I had this Freedom Launchpad group, and I haven't been publishing a lot of content in it lately. And one of the things is I like to do organized content. And so I was able to come back here and kind of map out everything that I wanted to do. And the cool thing is this is like a mind map, okay? So I wanted to organize the content that I wanted to publish in a way, that was good for me. Like I wanted a certain schedule to it. So if I went over mindset, this is kind of the order I wanted to go. And if I went over strategies, this is the kind of order I wanted to go. So I literally could map out everything that I wanted to do in my group. So all of these are units and things like that. And so I mapped all that out. And the cool thing about this thing is maybe this is like giving some people a headache, right? So you can go and do a list if you want, right? So you can look at it as a list, if you prefer it that way. So you can change the way you view it. And they have a board. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Trello, but it looks similar to Trello. I don't think it works the same way. So, but you can actually look at that whichever way you want. I prefer the mind map in some cases. And then in other cases, like my dailies that I just finished working on, my dailies, I prefer a list, right? So I could just go down this list of what I'm supposed to do each day, okay? So, and that can help give you some balance. And one other thing, guys, if you do decide to use something like this, definitely give yourself some room to breathe, because I've done schedules like this before where it was like barely any room to relax. And it like, I quickly quit the system because it was too much and it exhausted me. So you might see a long, let's see. I don't know if I got a long break somewhere in here. It's a late shower though going on. And this is like a draft, right? So I can come in here and switch things around later and stuff like that. So I got to look and check and make sure I got a break coming in somewhere in there. Oh, so I got a 3:30 to 6. And I don't know why I got dinner there. So I got to fix dinner at 3 o'clock. But literally, like, you can come in here. I think Monday, I don't have no breaks on Mondays. Saturday, I think, was that Sunday I was on just now? Yeah, Saturday I put like a long break because I know, like, hey, I worked all week. I don't want to work all Saturday. So like you might see a big like 12 to 6, whatever I want to do, like special home, relax or whatever, nap, like I put that in there. So if you do utilize that, definitely add some breaks and stuff like that in there, because it is about relaxing too. Like you have to balance that as well. So that's all I wanted to share. It like jumped from email marketing to like outsourcing and technology and stuff like that. But you can utilize those things to help. So, and I really, really love that app so far. They have a paid version, but I'm like, I don't even think I need it. Everything is free.
Well, and I'm looking at it here. It's taskade.com. And like you said, there's a little sheep. It was a little easier to show it, a little easier to see on the there's a little sheep on the Chrome web store. But then it brought us right over to their page, and there is a pricing. It's $5 a month, but like you said, it looks like the free version. I mean, it's pretty much got everything on there. I don't see a real reason to take a paid version of it. So that's pretty cool looking thing.
Yeah, it might be a users or something like that. If you want to add users, possibly.
Yeah,
you can create projects.
Really cool, and it did look a little bit like Trello, which Trello too seems to be pretty much free. So I think that's really neat. I think that's a good way to incorporate some balance, like you're saying there. And I will go over and show. We'll go into Get Response, which is what we use as our autoresponder. Most of us use, and show too that talking about technology. Here shows that I sent out 3,000 emails. Well, I only did that with basically I wrote one email out and I clicked the button, right? And so all of these show that I've sent thousands of emails out with just a click of a button. I tried to do this a few times by, sorting them and putting them in folders and all. I mean, it's crazy to try to send out a couple, even just 100 emails without using something like this. So the way that this basically works, and you're on a page right now that can show you how to get started with us in business. Right here on the page is a button, and you may be in a page that looks slightly different than this, but basically there should be a button down here that says yes, show me more, or more information, or something like that. And that's how you can get started in and learn about these two tools that we talk about here pretty much every week. But what I wanted to show is exactly how this ends up working for you. So we talked about a funnel and we talked about collecting emails. So at some point you've visited all of our websites and you've put your email in here. And this is how that you end up in our Get Response, in our autoresponder that does a lot of the work for us, that automates a lot of the systems that we use. And then inside of this system are a bunch of different lists. So you ended up on one of our lists, and so this ends up sending you. And then I wanted to show you, like on my re-engagement list, particularly because Robin, you talked about how you can set this up so that it sends out emails for you, really just automatic. And in my re-engagement list, I have a series of about 13, 14 different emails. I got a couple that send out even on the same day. And this just sends out to thousands of people just because you've ended up over here on this list. And this just does work for me. This sends out an email called an autoresponder that when you get onto this list, these are just sent out in a process day after day, time over time. Now, these aren't quite as effective as sending out a personal daily kind of email that's a little bit more about what's going on. Like these tend to get just a little bit stale over time because maybe I don't talk about COVID, or maybe I don't talk about, the inauguration in it, or something that's really current. So you kind of need to do a little bit of a mix of a daily newsletter, which is what this other one was, where it's just showing, you know, you've sent out this email today. I sent out this email on January 14th, January 12th, January 11th. And these I actually like came up with some content. Maybe I stole some, maybe I grabbed some from somebody else's email. You know, me and Robin and Louie, we all kind of share emails around. We actually have a little group with some inspiration in it as well for emails. So the same thing. It's not like you have to go and learn every single bit of this. You can take little bits and pieces here. If somebody sends an email and you're like, wow, I really like that email, you can take portions of it. Don't take all of it. You know, I mean, you got to put some of your personality into it, but then just use your system to send it out, right? So this is something that is really powerful way to, the same thing again, balance out some of your life. Learn to do some of this even in your business. I mean, in your business, your job, you know, maybe you start sending out Christmas newsletters this way. I mean, I don't know where all you could apply it, you know, but you could apply this technology into a bunch of different stages of your life. Maybe it doesn't have to be your home-based business. You could grow your list for your restaurant, or you could grow your list for, you know, your barber shop, whatever it is that you do, and just collect emails. And then, you know, one day you get a whim that you're like, hey, maybe I could just send out a coupon to all of the people in my business, and send it out to, you know, to your whole list of restaurant customers, you know, something like that. But then this Tascade thing, Robin got me thinking too about something else that I've been working in lately, and it's called Descript. It's called DESCRIPT.com. And over here at Descript, this is for editing videos, or editing a podcast, or editing basically any kind of voice. And what Descript does is it'll let you, let me open it up and actually show it to you also, because this is just kind of the gist of it here. But like today, I did my video for my video game, right? And I just put it in here, and what it does is it takes your video and it breaks it down into words, and then you can actually come down here and edit your video by the words. So you can take this yesterday, and like, let's say that you said, here, I'll play it here for a moment. So you come in here to the Forge, you can see I can make 5 pieces that are 4 to 5 star of this Swift Parry. So now if you don't like how it says nice right here, you can actually delete nice, and it will take it right out of your video. And then it's right out of it, take the video out and the words out. So if you have a bunch of ums, ands, ifs, at, ors, right? Check this out. It's got this tool where you can come in here and you can remove filler words. Now, all of my filler words are removed already, but you can click this button and then they'll pop up over here and show you all the instances of, like, you searched through your Word document and it'll show you all your filler words. And then with one click, you can remove all of those. Now, I still say you go through, you know, like here it has shortened word gaps, right? Because I have a tendency to say like, and I'll really stretch it out. And like, you can see it here, like between equipment and inside, there's a gap there. So you can actually grab this word and slide it over there and it will take that gap out. Like I can put this gap back in here. Like if I want to accentuate something inside of the faction wars. So the stuff that you're collecting in the faction wars, you get blip. And then you could see here, there's a little bit of space in between wars and you. So I can just slide this you over here and take that space out of there so that I can kind of pull my words back in together. And it's really, you get glyphs and you get material drops. These material drops are what you,
This is awesome.
The word wars. So like you, I think you started on top of the word wars. Can you start right before wars?
Yeah. Right here.
I was trying to compare the difference. Yeah, like maybe start at faction. Maybe start at faction. Is it faction?
Faction wars?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a good point. right there where it says faction wars. So the stuff you're collecting, right? Maybe you don't want to say so there. Faction wars. So the stuff that you're collecting, you can just take this right here and say, and just delete so. And it deletes it right out down here. So now when I rewind it a little bit, faction wars, the stuff that you're collecting in the faction wars, you get glyphs and you
That's
get
pretty dope.
Now I took a video the other day.
Could save.
Oh, I took a video the other day that was like 2 hours long, and you know how we're here talking, and we're not really thinking too much, especially when I'm playing the video game, right? I'm not really thinking all that much about my pauses and stuff like that. So once I get in here, now I can go in here and just delete all the so's really easy, because most of the times they're just fillers. Most of the time that so, you can just take that out and you don't need it there, you know.
I used to manually don't
you used to.
Hopefully
you used to, right? Already you're using this new program.
Right. I could say as long as I want now. Oh, exactly. Wow. That's amazing.
This has saved me a ton of time.
Well, and it was so much time to edit that I just stopped. I was like, you're just going to hear
right,
ums.
right.
Like,
that's one of the big things is most people just stop editing because, but then some of them, like Louie and I was talking about this morning, sometimes, Kristi, you know, when you're really not knowing your content very much, some of Kristi's videos have really been heavy on the you-knows and ums. And then like, it's hard to listen to sometimes. So mine too. I mean, I'm not saying I'm any better because definitely I was showing Louie, if I pull up my movie editor, the one that I normally use to edit it manually. And I was like, man, there has got to be a better way than this. This is just ridiculous. So let me open this up and I'll show you how many cuts. Let's see here. I'll put it right here because this will give a good example. So I'll share my screen over here. Okay. So this is video. Can you see that? Okay. This is video that I haven't edited yet. This is video that I have, and all those lines, every one of those lines is a cut that I've gone in there and manually cut out some kind of filler. Now, it may not necessarily be, you know, it's a video of me gaming, so it could just be a long pause or something like that. So I do have to kind of edit them a little bit different, but you can see that this is how much time I've spent on this video cutting this out. I mean, I was like, no, I can't keep doing this. I'll never get like
all black screen. It's all edited out. Oh, now it's loading up. Okay.
It's loading, yeah, but
okay.
but it's still not really going to show much of anything. Each one of these lines is a cut, you know. So so it's taken me. This is my first long video, and I've had my channel up now for like 10 days, and I'm still editing my first long video. Now I'm making 5-minute SEO videos, so I've been doing those in this new program, and I'm like, holy crap, this is so much better. Now the program is it's $30 a month for 30 hours of video. So it's, you know, it's not bad. It's got a little cost to it. And typically, I mean, that's an hour a day. If you do an hour of video a day, that's a lot of video, right? So, so I mean, that's very, very productive way to go about getting that fixed in your life. And I figured both of you guys would really like seeing that, but it's just, and there's not an affiliate program for it, unfortunately, because I was like, man, we could sell the heck out of this program.
Yep, they probably know it too. That's probably why they know affiliate is going to sell itself.
Right, it's going to sell itself, you know, because this is really, I mean, it's been a big time saver for me. And you can see, let me share my screen again, because you can't see the edits quite as clear. But you can see like each one of these little arrows, they're pretty small, but each one of them is some kind of filler, some kind of change that the program has made to tighten up my speech patterns. And mostly it's done it for me. Now I have, like I said, I did come in here and tighten up a few myself, but for the most part, it did it in seconds, so it's
Wow.
been a huge time saver. So I wanted to share that because that's part of balance. And I think this, and that's the same thing we were talking about and you were talking about. You don't have to learn a lot of this stuff. Like Mike Hobbs, our founder, he didn't learn how to do his Instagram channel, right? He hired a guy out to do it. Now, some of that stuff, sure, you want to learn your first system and at least know. You should learn a little bit about taxes, right? So you can at least know your tax guy is doing your taxes. He's not just throwing it in the trash and be like, okay, well, you didn't get no money back. Here's your pay. Jim Rohn, we talked about Jim Rohn earlier. He said you should learn a little bit about law. You don't have to become a lawyer, but at least learn what some of those terms mean, because one term cost him $1.5 million. So he figured out he probably should have learned that the cheaper way firsthand, but he said it wasn't that valuable of a lesson at the time. But he did say that he knew what the cost of every letter of that term costed him, so anyways, so there's a lot of ways out there that you can learn those kinds of things. You can start to balance your life. You can just decide what parts of your life need to balance. What parts need to balance? We all have priorities. We all, like Louis said, maybe you got to write it down. You definitely should write it down. And I did want to hit on that a little more too. I know we're at 9:00 and I know Louis is tired. I can see him shutting down. Man, I had a buddy in Iraq that it was so funny. At a certain time, you could see his face would just like shut off. You're like, okay, he's done.
Well, I mean, I got up earlier too this morning than normal. Our daughter drove out of the driveway at 4 a.m. So we were up well before that. And yeah.
All right.
It's funny. You can see that. I'm trying to sit up.
No, I know, man. And Kristi's the same way a lot of times too. So anyways, if you want to, be connected with some like-minded people, if you resonate with anything that we talked about here tonight, you can get started at the button down below. Maybe it's something for you, maybe it's not, but we do this every Thursday night. We basically just hang out. We have a discussion like this. Sometimes we get a little more technical. Sometimes we get a little deeper even than we've gotten tonight on what we've talked about. Louis showed us a few weeks ago how to save $1 million for real, just with what expenses you have already. And so we cover some valuable stuff. If you just come here and hang out with us, that's super cool. But if you want to get started with us and learn how to make 80% commissions like we do, that button down below, whatever page you're on, will get you there. And that's all we're really going to cover tonight. So Louis, you can go on to sleep. And
night, Louis.
Hey,
I got another Zoom in an hour.
You got another Zoom in an hour? Golly.
Well, it's only 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock there, right, Robin?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's 9 here, and it was too cold this morning to go walking, so we did line dance on the TV this morning. So, yeah, it was too cold. Too cold to walk.
Cold.
What was it? 35?
No, it was like 50.
That's perfect.
Hang on for a minute.
Actually, the other day it was like 47, and me and the dog walked, and we walked really quick because I actually ran a little bit. So I was like, man, it is cold.
Like,
right now it's 19 degrees outside.
19 degries.
You can keep that.
Yeah, you can keep that. I don't think it's ever been 19 here before. So
supposed to be 3 degrees on Saturday.
It's 61 degrees here.
Yeah, that's probably about what it is here now too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Siri, what's the temperature outside?
It's 57 degrees outside.
57 degrees.
Wow.
So that's pretty cold for South Florida though. I mean, especially very consistent. And it's been that way now for like a week. So when the house starts getting 65 degrees, it's cold outside.
Yeah, I had to turn the heat on a couple weeks ago. I think it's still on. I'm not sure.
All right. Well,
alrighty.
Hey, have a good night.
Thanks for
everybody,
watching.
Have a
showing
good
up.
night, guys.
for watching, and we'll see you next week.
All righty.
See you next week.